The stars above Earth had never looked so crowded. For thousands of years, humanity had looked at the night sky with wonder. They had seen stars as distant dreams, places of hope and exploration. But on this night, the stars carried a darker shape. They were no longer just points of light. They were covered, dimmed, and blocked by the arrival of alien ships. The fleet of the Galactic Concord had come. From orbit, thousands of warships hung in formation, shining with cold blue light, their smooth metal hulls stretching for kilometers. Some looked like floating blades, others like massive spheres covered in strange glowing symbols. They radiated power, silence, and arrogance. The fleet was so large that even the astronauts aboard the International Space Station had no words to describe it. Earth had never seen such a sight. People all over the world stopped what they were doing. Screens in cities lit up with the same broadcast. Families gathered in living rooms. Soldiers stood still in bases, and children clutched their parents' hands. The Concord had sent a message, and it was time for the entire human race to hear it. The message: the alien figure that appeared on every screen did not look human. Its body was tall, covered in pale silver skin with long limbs that moved too smoothly, like liquid metal flowing inside flesh. Its eyes were wide and unblinking, glowing softly with a light that carried no warmth. Behind it stood a grand chamber, filled with banners written in alien scripts and surrounded by creatures of many different forms. Slender insect-like beings, massive scaled reptilians, and winged figures with feathers that shimmered. When it spoke, its voice was calm, deep and layered, as if many speakers whispered the same words together. The Concord's translator system ensured that every human on Earth could understand it. People of Earth, you stand at the crossroads of destiny. The Galactic Concord, rulers of 1,000 worlds, bring you judgment. Your species has reached into the stars, and you must now join the Great Order or face its justice. The figure paused, letting the weight of its words fall heavy. You will dismantle your weapons of war. You will surrender your resources. You will accept conquered overseers to guide your world. In return, you will be allowed to live as a minor member of our civilization. Failure to comply will bring destruction. The broadcast ended as suddenly as it began. For a long moment, Earth stood in silence. In cities, no one moved. In deserts and villages, people stared at the sky. In the oceans, submarines listened to the silence of the deep. Humanity, for the first time, was united by a single voice. The debate in the United Earth Assembly, leaders from every nation sat around a massive round table. Holograms projected the alien fleet above them. Generals, scientists, and diplomats filled the chamber. Some argued for caution. Others demanded resistance. President Elena Vargas of the North American Coalition leaned forward, her voice calm but sharp. They demand our surrender. If we kneel now, we will never stand again. Do you think they will stop at resources? No, they will make us servants forever. A European ambassador shook his head. But we cannot fight them. Look at their ships. Entire continents could burn in minutes. We are still a young species in space. If we resist, Earth could be destroyed. From the other side of the table, General Ibrahim Malik of the Global Defense Force spoke. We are not defenseless. We have built fleets. We have weapons. But above all, we have something they do not: willpower. Every inch of this planet will resist. The chamber broke into heated arguments. Some wanted to submit. Some wanted to fight. But one thing became clear. The Conquered expected Earth to bow. They had done this to other worlds. Records showed how proud civilizations had given up their freedom. Becoming shadows of what they once were, the humans had to decide, humanity's choice that night. The Assembly released Earth's answer to the stars. The message was carried on powerful transmitters sent directly to the Concorde fleet. President Vargas herself read the words. Her face was firm, her voice steady, and behind her stood leaders of every nation. To the Conquered, we are the people of Earth. You may think us weak. You may think us primitive, but we are not your subjects. We will not kneel. This planet belongs to us, and we will defend it. The message ended. The world erupted in both fear and pride. People cheered in the streets. Soldiers prepared for war. Children looked at their parents with wide eyes, sensing the storm to come. The Conquered, in their silent ships above, now had their answer. The Concorde's reaction on the flagship of the alien fleet, High Executor Thalen of the Concorde listened to the human's reply. His silver eyes narrowed. The chamber around him was filled with alien generals and governors, all watching. One insect-like admiral clicked its mandibles in disbelief. They said no. They refuse. No species has refused the ultimatum in centuries. Thalen's voice was calm, but there was a sharp edge beneath it. Then they must be made an example. Earth will learn what it means to deny the conquered. He turned toward the great viewing window, where the blue-green planet filled the stars. He raised one hand and his words echoed across the fleet. Prepare for siege. Humanity prepares on Earth. The response to war was swift. Defense networks activated. Hidden satellites armed their weapons. Submarines surfaced with missile launchers ready. Military bases buzzed with movement as soldiers donned armor, and pilots climbed into cockpits. But not all preparations were visible. Deep under oceans and sealed bunkers and hidden facilities, strange vibrations began to stir. Machines that had not been activated in decades hummed with energy. Engineers whispered to each other, their eyes filled with both fear and hope. The world did not know about them yet. Ordinary citizens only heard rumors. Project Leviathan. Some said it was a myth, a dream told in military circles. Others believed it was humanity's secret weapon, built in shadows waiting for this very day. No one knew the truth yet. But deep in the darkness, something vast and powerful shifted. The calm. Before the fire, for 3 days, the conquered held their position in orbit, giving humans time to surrender. Cities waited, schools closed, and governments broadcast updates. But no surrender came. Humanity's spirit was too proud. On the 4th day, the alien fleet began to move. Thousands of ships glowed brighter as their weapons charged. From deserts to mountaintops, people watched the sky fill with alien fire. And then the first beam of light fell. The war for Earth had begun. The first strike came at dawn. Over the deserts of Asia, the sky split open as a Concorde cruiser released a burning beam of white light. Sand melted into glass and the horizon turned into a wall of fire. Across the world, people gasped as news channels broadcast the images. The aliens had made their move, but Earth was ready. The first defense in the deserts below, hidden silos, opened. From the ground, missiles shot upward in groups of 10, streaking with bright trails. The alien cruiser did not expect such a response. Its shields flared as explosions rattled across its hull. For a brief moment, the mighty Concorde ship shook. The galaxy's rulers had always expected submission. But Earth had teeth. The humans called this Operation Iron Sky, a plan made years ago when whispers of alien powers began to spread. Networks of hidden weapons were scattered across the planet. Missiles, railguns, and satellites armed with kinetic projectiles. Humanity had not built them for war against itself. They were built for something bigger, though no one had imagined the day would come so soon. The alien cruiser reeled. Another volley of human missiles hit its underside where its shields were thinner. A bright explosion tore through its hull. For the first time in centuries, a Concorde warship burned in the sky of a defiant world. On Earth, cheers erupted in command centers. Soldiers clapped their hands. Engineers shouted with joy. Ordinary people watching the live broadcast cried out with pride. Humanity had struck back, but the celebration was short. The full force arrives, the Concorde fleet moved as one. Thousands of ships began to descend in layers like predators surrounding prey. Some were small fighters, sleek and fast with wings that folded and twisted. Others were titanic carriers, each capable of holding hundreds of vessels inside. Above them all were the dreadnoughts, massive floating fortresses that carried weapons able to vaporize mountains. The first wave of alien fighters broke through Earth's atmosphere. They darted across the skies, their weapons cutting through human jets. In the Pacific Ocean, a Concorde carrier unleashed swarms of drones shaped like glowing discs. They tore into battleships, ripping holes in steel as if it were paper. In orbit, the dreadnoughts opened fire. Their beams cut through human satellites, shattering them into pieces of burning metal. The sky above Earth glittered with falling debris, a cruel imitation of shooting stars. Yet the humans refused to give in. Humanity strikes back. General Ibrahim Malik stood in the Global Defense Command, watching the battle unfold on giant screens. His voice was firm, his eyes sharp. Deploy the orbital interceptors. Bring the Falcon squadrons into play. Show them Earth does not kneel. From underground hangars, sleek human-built starfighters launched into the sky. They were small compared to Concorde ships, but their pilots had something the aliens lacked: fearless creativity. Captain Sarah O'Connell, leader of Falcon Squadron, led her unit into the upper atmosphere. Her voice crackled over the radio. "Remember this, Falcons. We're not just fighting for countries. We're fighting for everyone down there watching. Let's show them what humanity can do." The Falcons streaked upward, weaving between alien fighters. They fired missiles that split into dozens of smaller rockets, overwhelming Concorde shields. One alien ship burst into flames, then another. Sarah spun her fighter in a move no alien pilot expected, looping behind a pursuer and blasting it to pieces. In space, orbital interceptors, long, spear-like vessels, charged into the fight. They carried experimental rail cannons, weapons that fired projectiles at speeds close to light. One shot from a railgun tore straight through a Concorde frigate, splitting it in half. The galaxy's conquerors were stunned. No primitive world had ever resisted this hard, the cost of resistance, but victory came at a price. Over Europe, an alien dreadnought fired a beam into the ground. A shockwave rippled across miles, shaking cities to their foundations. In the oceans, fleets of human warships sank beneath waves as alien drones overwhelmed them. Falcon Squadron lost 3 fighters in a single clash. Sarah heard their last cries over the radio before silence took their place. Her heart burned, but her voice remained steady. "Keep fighting. Every second we hold them off is another second for Earth." On the ground, civilians huddled in shelters, listening to the thunder above. Parents held children close. Some whispered prayers. Others simply listened to the rumble of war, knowing that history was being written outside. Humanity had chosen defiance, and now the price was being paid in fire. The Concorde's arrogance on the flagship. High Executor Thalen watched the battle unfold with a mix of irritation and curiosity. Never had a species resisted so fiercely. Every other world had fallen quickly, bowing before the Concorde's strength. "Primitive weapons," he muttered. "Yet they strike with unexpected force. These humans are reckless, dangerous." His advisors shifted nervously. One reptilian governor spoke. "Shall we bring the full fleet down upon them? Erase their cities as we have done to others?" Thalen raised a hand. His glowing eyes narrowed. "No, not yet. Let them burn their strength. Let them reveal all their defenses. When they are exhausted, when their spirit is broken, then we will crush them, and the galaxy will watch as Earth's defiance is turned to dust." His words spread across the fleet. The aliens would not simply destroy Earth. They wanted to humiliate it. They wanted to make the humans an example, but deep below, Earth was preparing something Thalen had not expected. Shadows of the Leviathan far beneath the Atlantic Ocean. In a hidden facility built into the seafloor, alarms rang softly. Engineers rushed to their stations. Screens lit up with data streams, showing pressure levels, energy flows, and activation codes. Dr. Aisha Rahman, chief scientist of Project Leviathan, stood before a massive glass window. Beyond it, hidden in the darkness, something enormous shifted. Lights blinked across its vast form, illuminating outlines of armor plates thicker than battleship hulls. "It's time," she whispered. "They think we are cornered. Let them believe it, but soon, the Leviathans will rise." For now, the project remained secret. Only a handful of leaders knew the truth. To the rest of the world, humanity's defenses seemed desperate. But in the shadows, the true counterattack was stirring. Unity in fire. Despite the destruction, something remarkable began to happen across Earth. Nations that had once been rivals now fought side by side. Engineers from different continents shared data in real time. Pilots from distant countries flew in the same squadrons. Soldiers who spoke different languages stood together in defense lines. In the ruins of a city in South America, a firefighter carried a child to safety. Behind him, soldiers and volunteers cleared rubble side by side. In Africa, villagers opened their homes to strangers fleeing bombardments. In Asia, farmers shared food with soldiers who marched past their fields. The conquered had hoped to divide and conquer. Instead, they had united humanity like never before. The turning point. After 3 days of battle, the skies above Earth were scarred with smoke. Alien wreckage burned in orbit, but so did human satellites and fighters. Both sides had taken losses, yet neither had claimed victory. In the command center, General Malik studied the maps. His face was tired but determined. "We cannot last forever. Their fleet is vast. Ours is small. But if we can hold long enough..." He glanced at a sealed file on his desk marked Leviathan Protocol. His hand hovered over it. If we can buy just a little more time, we may surprise them. On the flagship, Thalen frowned. Humanity was not breaking as expected. Instead of fear, their defiance grew. Instead of surrender, their unity strengthened. These humans, he whispered, are not like the others. He did not know how right he was. The siege tightens by the end of the week. Alien dreadnoughts encircled Earth completely. No ship could leave orbit. No signal could escape without being monitored. The Conquered's grip was closing like a hand around a fragile stone. But deep below, the oceans rumbled. Sensors detected strange vibrations. Some alien scouts reported unusual readings, but their commanders dismissed them. They are primitive, the alien said. They have nothing left but desperation. Yet in the silent depths, the Leviathans were awakening. The final stand of Part 2 on the 7th day, the Concorde launched their largest assault. Dreadnoughts aligned their beams, preparing to unleash destruction on Earth's major cities. The skies glowed as their weapons charged. In the command center, alarms screamed. Generals shouted orders. Pilots scrambled into fighters. Civilians prayed. The world seemed to hold its breath, and then, just as the beams began to fire, the ocean shook. Across the seas, waves rose high as if the Earth itself was answering the alien threat. From the depths, lights glowed. Massive, impossible lights. The Conquered thought they had Earth cornered. But humanity had been waiting for this moment. The Leviathans were ready. All across the world, people looked toward the seas. Waves rose higher than buildings, glowing with strange lights deep below the surface. Alien ships paused in confusion. Their sensors registered powerful energy spikes unlike anything recorded from a primitive world. And then, the seas split. The rising giants, in the Atlantic Ocean, a massive shadow rose from the depths. At first, it seemed like an island lifting itself from the waves. Then came the details, plates of black and silver armor, glowing lines of energy that pulsed like veins, and eyes that burned with golden fire. The first Leviathan emerged. It was larger than any battleship. Its back rose like a mountain, and its arms ended in massive weapons that shimmered with blue light. Water cascaded off its sides as it rose fully into the air, standing upon thrusters that lifted it out of the sea. From hidden facilities across the globe, more Leviathans awakened. One broke through Arctic ice, shaking glaciers apart as it stood tall. Another rose from the Pacific, carrying weapons shaped like enormous cannons. Yet another climbed from the depths of the Indian Ocean, glowing red with heat as it charged. The world watched in awe. For decades, they had been myths, rumors whispered in military circles, code names hidden in secret files. But now they were real, and they were here to defend Earth. Inside the Leviathan. Within the cockpit of the first Leviathan, Captain Daniel Reyes stood at the command console. Around him, a crew of 20 worked at stations, each controlling a part of the giant war machine. The air was filled with humming vibrations as if the machine itself was alive. Power level stable, reported Engineer Kimura. Weapons online. Leviathan 1 is operational. Daniel's eyes fixed on the screens showing the alien fleet above. Then let's give Earth the answer it's been waiting for. He pressed his hand on the control sphere. Outside, the Leviathan's eyes flared brighter. The giant raised one arm, pointing it toward the sky. A massive beam of concentrated plasma burst forth, shooting upward like a lance of fire. The beam struck a Conquered battleship. Its shield screamed, bending and cracking. In a single blast, the mighty alien warship exploded into fragments, raining fire across the sea. The galaxy had just witnessed the impossible. Humans had destroyed a Concorde battleship with their own creation. The shock of the Concorde on the flagship. High Executor Thalen rose to his feet. His silver eyes widened, though his expression remained controlled. What is this? Hissed an insectoid admiral, its wings shivering. What have they unleashed? Thalen's voice was low but firm. Not machines. Not ships, titans. They have built Leviathans. Around him, the alien commanders argued. Some shouted to retreat and regroup. Others demanded immediate destruction of the giants. Thalen silenced them with a wave of his hand. Do not fear. They are only one world. Whatever they have built, it will not stop the Conquered. But even as he said it, his gaze lingered on the images of the towering machines. For the first time, a sliver of doubt crept into his mind. Humanity's roar on Earth, people poured into the streets. Giant screens showed the Leviathans rising, their massive forms blocking the clouds. Children pointed in wonder. Soldiers cheered. Civilians wept with relief. "They're real," whispered a young girl watching with her family in South America. The legends were true. In a command bunker, General Ibrahim Malik allowed himself the smallest of smiles. "Release the footage to every channel. Let the world see. Let the galaxy see. Humanity does not bow. We rise." The first Clash alien fighters swarmed toward the Leviathan over the Atlantic. Dozens of sleek ships fired beams and plasma bursts, filling the sky with deadly light. The Leviathan raised an arm, deploying a shield of glowing energy. The alien fire slammed into it, sparks cascading like fireworks. "Shields holding," reported Kimura. "Counterattack ready." "Fire," Daniel ordered. From the Leviathan's chest, missile pods opened. Hundreds of small rockets shot out, weaving through the air like a storm of arrows. Alien ships exploded one after another, painting the sky with fire. Another Leviathan, rising from the Pacific, unleashed a different weapon. Its massive cannon charged for 3 seconds before firing a bolt of energy so powerful that it tore through 3 enemy cruisers in a line. The aliens were unprepared. Their formations broke, their confidence shaken. For the first time, the hunters became the hunted. The awakening spreads across the world. Leviathans joined the fight. Leviathan II, born in the Arctic, wielded twin blades of energy taller than skyscrapers. It moved with surprising speed, cutting through alien frigates as if slicing paper. Leviathan III, armed with rail cannons, launched projectiles that pierced conquered shields. Each shot shook the ground as if the Earth itself was firing. Leviathan IV, still hidden beneath the Indian Ocean, charged silently, preparing for its moment. The alien fleet had never faced enemies like these. Their tactics, designed to crush ordinary civilizations, faltered against giants built with both machine precision and human imagination. The spirit of the crew inside Leviathan won. The crew felt the weight of history. Every move they made was broadcast live across Earth. Every strike they landed gave hope to billions. "Another cruiser destroyed," shouted Kimura. "We're taking fire on the left flank," said a gunner. "Shields down to 60%. Daniel gritted his teeth. "Hold the line. If we fall, the world falls with us." His crew nodded, their faces pale but determined. None of them had asked for this. None of them expected to fight gods in the sky. But each one knew their duty. The Leviathan was not just a weapon. It was the spirit of humanity given form. The Concord counterattack. The aliens regrouped quickly. A dreadnought moved into position, its massive cannons glowing. It unleashed a beam of energy directly at Leviathan I. The shield flared, then shattered. The Leviathan staggered, alarms ringing inside. Sparks burst across consoles. Engineers struggled to reroute power. "We can't take another hit like that," shouted Kimura. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then we make sure they don't get the chance." The Leviathan's chest glowed brighter. Energy built up, shaking the entire machine. Daniel slammed his hand on the control sphere. "Full power!" A blinding beam shot from the Leviathan's core, striking the dreadnought. For a moment, the massive alien ship resisted. Then its hull cracked, its core exploded, and the dreadnought disintegrated into fire. Silence followed for a heartbeat. Then cheers erupted across Earth. Humanity had just destroyed one of the galaxy's most feared war machines. The message to the galaxy: the battle was not hidden. Across the stars, other civilizations watched. Many were worlds that had already bent the knee to the Concord. They saw the Leviathans rise. They saw humans strike down ships that had once ruled the stars without question. On distant planets, whispers began. If Earth can resist, maybe we can too. The Conquered had meant to make Earth an example of obedience. Instead, Earth was becoming an example of defiance, the toll of battle. But the fight was far from over. Alien ships swarmed in greater numbers. Leviathan II was surrounded by dozens of fighters. Leviathan III took heavy damage, its rail cannon arm nearly destroyed. Inside, crews worked desperately to keep the machines running. Civilians on the ground continued to suffer. Cities still burned. Families still hid in fear. The Leviathans were powerful, but they were not invincible. Yet even in suffering, the spirit of resistance grew. Volunteers rushed to help soldiers. Engineers repaired damaged weapons. Farmers donated fuel and supplies. Every human, in every way, became part of the battle. The executors doubt on the flagship. Thalen watched the destruction of his dreadnought. His calm mask finally cracked, his silver eyes narrowing with fury. "These humans," he whispered, "have built monsters that should not exist. How could one world, one young species. Create such power? For the first time, the High Executor felt something he had never known in centuries of conquest. He felt uncertainty. The end of Part 3A's night fell on Earth, the battle raged on. Flames lit the skies and the seas boiled with war. But above it all, the Leviathans stood tall, glowing like titans of legend. Inside Leviathan 1, Daniel looked at his crew. Their faces were tired, burned, and bruised, but their eyes were bright. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They thought we would kneel. Instead we rise. And tomorrow we fight again." Outside, lightning cracked across the clouds, illuminating the towering shape of the Leviathan against the storm. The world was bleeding, but it was not broken. Humanity had awakened its giants, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The world had changed in only a few days. Once humanity looked at the sky with fear, knowing that alien warships circled their planet like vultures. But now when they looked up, they also saw hope. Giant silhouettes rising from the oceans, mountains of metal and power that belonged to Earth alone. The Leviathans were awake. The giants marched by the second week of the invasion. 4 Leviathans walked the world. Each one was as tall as skyscrapers, armed with weapons never before seen by alien or human eyes. They were not just machines. They were symbols, reminders that humanity could not be broken. Leviathan 1, led by Captain Daniel Reyes, carried massive plasma cannons on its arms and a core beam weapon in its chest. Leviathan 2, forged in the Arctic, wielded twin energy blades that could slice through alien hulls. Leviathan 3, the heavy striker, was armed with colossal rail cannons that hurled projectiles faster than anything in space. Leviathan 4, still hidden in the Indian Ocean, was the most mysterious. Its systems had not been revealed even to Earth's leaders. When these giants moved, the ground trembled. When they fought, the skies burned. The Concord's answer, the Concorde, was not idle. Shaken by their losses, they brought reinforcements from deep space. 2 more dreadnoughts arrived, each larger than a city. Swarms of alien fighters filled the skies, blackening them with their numbers. On the flagship, High Executor Thalen gave his command. His voice was cold as ice. "Crush their titans. Tear them down. Show the galaxy that no one resists the conquered." Alien fleets split into groups, each targeting one Leviathan. The War of the Titans had begun. Leviathan 1 versus the swarm over the Atlantic. Leviathan 1 was surrounded by fighters and cruisers. Daniel Reyes stood at the command console, his crew working furiously. "They're trying to overwhelm us," Kimura shouted. "Shields dropping fast." "Target the cruisers first," Daniel ordered. "We cut off their teeth, then deal with the swarm." The Leviathan raised an arm. Plasma cannons glowed, then fired in twin blasts. A Concorde cruiser exploded, then another. Alien fighters zipped around like insects, blasting at weak spots. But the Leviathan's missile pods opened and released a storm of rockets. One by one, the attackers fell in fire. Inside the cockpit, the crew cheered. But Daniel kept his eyes sharp. "Don't celebrate yet. They'll keep coming." Leviathan 2 versus the dreadnought in the Arctic skies. Leviathan 2 faced its greatest challenge. A dreadnought descended, firing beams that cut through glaciers like butter. Ice mountains shattered, tsunamis rose, and the Leviathan stood alone before the monster. Captain Amina Kova, commander of Leviathan 2, raised her blades. The glowing weapons hummed with energy. "Bring us closer," she ordered. Her crew gasped. "Closer? That's suicide." Amina's eyes hardened. "We are not built for fear. We are built to fight." The Leviathan charged across the frozen sea, dodging beams, its massive blades glowing brighter. With a leap powered by thrusters, it landed on the dreadnought's hull. The crew inside shook as alarms blared. The Leviathan slashed once, then twice. The dreadnought's shield shattered. A third strike tore through its core. In seconds, the monster of the Concorde fell into the icy waters, broken apart by Earth's creation. Across the planet, the victory was broadcast live. Humanity roared with pride. Leviathan 3 versus the carrier. Fleet over the Pacific, Leviathan 3 lumbered forward. It was slower, heavier, but its weapons were unmatched. A fleet of alien carriers unleashed wave after wave of drones, filling the skies with thousands of glowing discs. "Targets locked," shouted the gunners inside. "Fire rail cannons!" The Leviathan's massive arms thundered. Projectiles shot out, glowing with heat, tearing through dozens of drones at once. Each strike punched holes through carriers, sending them crashing into the ocean below. But the drones were endless. They swarmed over the Leviathan, covering it like ants on a giant. Alarms blared as systems failed. Inside, Commander Hassan gritted his teeth. We can't shake them off. Then the crew made a desperate choice. They overloaded the rail cannon with triple power. The weapon glowed dangerously, shaking the entire machine. Fire! The blast ripped through the largest carrier, igniting its drone factories in a chain of explosions. The swarm collapsed, leaderless, falling from the sky like burning rain. Leviathan 3 stood battered but victorious. The hidden power of Leviathan. For in the Indian Ocean, the water boiled. At last Leviathan 4 awakened. Unlike the others, its design was secret even to Earth's generals. When it rose, its armor shimmered like glass, bending light around it. Alien ships scanned it but found only distortions. Their weapons fired, but the beams curved away as if the giant bent reality itself. Inside, its commander, Admiral Wei Jung, smiled faintly. They will never hit what they cannot see. Leviathan 4 fired its hidden weapon, a pulse of energy that did not destroy ships but disabled them. Alien vessels dropped from the sky, powerless, crashing into the waves. It was not a weapon of destruction but of control, and it turned the tide in silence. Humanity united across Earth. Hope became strength. Civilians built supply chains for the Leviathans. Engineers worked day and night repairing damaged parts. Farmers donated fuel crops. Doctors treated wounded pilots and crews. In every nation and every language, the same word spread. We are one people now. We fight as Earth. Even children joined the effort, carrying water and food to shelters, painting the Leviathans' images on walls as symbols of courage. The conquered had wanted to divide Earth, but instead, they had united it more strongly than ever before. The galaxy watches on distant planets. Enslaved civilizations saw the broadcasts. They watched the Leviathans fight dreadnoughts. They saw humanity destroy ships that had ruled their skies for centuries. Whispers became louder. If Earth can stand, why not us? The Concord's empire trembled not because of defeat, but because of the idea of resistance spreading like fire through the stars. Thalen's Furion, the flagship. High Executor Thalen slammed his hand on the table. His voice thundered through the chamber. Enough games! Send in the Apex. The chamber went silent. The Apex was the largest dreadnought in the Concord fleet, a ship so massive that smaller vessels orbited it like moons. It had not been used in centuries, for no world had required it. But now Earth had forced their hand. Thalen's silver eyes glowed brighter. Let the humans see what true power looks like. The shadow of the Apex. The Apex arrived days later. It blocked out the stars, casting its shadow across Earth. Even the Leviathans looked small before it. Civilians trembled as they saw it on screens. Soldiers swallowed hard. Even the Leviathan crews felt their hearts sink. Captain Daniel Reyes whispered inside Leviathan 1. That thing. It's bigger than cities. Kimura's voice shook. How can we fight something like that? Daniel clenched his fists. The same way we always have, together. The final stand of Part 4, the Apex, began its attack. Its weapons were beyond imagination. Beams cut through mountains. Gravity fields bent the seas. Its shields shimmered with layers upon layers of protection. The Leviathans attacked together. Leviathan 2 slashed with its blades. Leviathan 3 fired its rail cannons. Leviathan 4 bent light and launched its disabling pulses. Leviathan 1 unleashed its chest beam at full power. The Apex shook, but it did not fall. Its shields held. Inside their cockpits, the crews knew the truth. This would be their greatest battle. The Apex was not just another ship. It was the heart of the Concord's pride. As lightning split the sky, the 4 Leviathans stood side by side, their glowing eyes fixed on the monster before them. Humanity had come this far. They would not stop now. The war of Leviathans had reached its peak. The sky above Earth was no longer blue. The Apex, the greatest weapon of the Conquered, hovered in orbit. Its size was so great that clouds broke against its edges, and the night itself seemed swallowed by its shadow. Cities looked up in silence, oceans trembled, and mountains quaked under its presence. It was more than a ship. It was a declaration, bow or be broken. But on Earth, 4 giants stood against it. The Leviathans. The fear before battle. In the command center of Leviathan 1, Captain Daniel Reyes stared at the hollow screen. The Apex filled the display like a mountain of fire and steel. His crew was silent, their faces pale. Kimura whispered, "It's impossible. Look at the energy readings. That thing has more firepower than all 4 Leviathans combined." Daniel took a deep breath. "Then we'll have to fight smarter." "Smarter won't be enough," Kimura replied, her voice shaking. Daniel turned to her. "Kimura, when humans first built fire, we were weaker than the beasts around us. When we built ships, we were weaker than the storms. But we survived. We adapted, and now we fight giants. This is no different. We will not kneel." His words spread through the crew like a spark. Fear was still there, but so was determination. Across the world, news of the apex reached every corner of Earth. In bunkers, in villages, in cities still glowing from bombardment, people gathered around radios and screens. They saw the Leviathans rise again, standing shoulder to shoulder. Old men clenched their fists. Children painted the Leviathans on scraps of paper. Mothers held their babies close and whispered, Look at our guardians. For the first time in history, Earth was united not by politics or borders, but by survival, and by pride. The first strike, the apex moved first. A single beam shot from its core cannon, brighter than the sun. It sliced through the atmosphere, aimed at Leviathan 3. "Evasive," Commander Hassan shouted. The giant barely moved in time. The beam struck the ocean instead, boiling an entire stretch of sea into steam. Waves 100 meters high rolled outward, drowning islands. Leviathan 3 fired back with its rail cannons, the projectiles striking the apex's shields. Explosions rippled across the surface, but the shields shimmered and healed instantly. "They're too strong," Hassan muttered. "We'll never break it alone." The Leviathans unite. Leviathan 2 charged forward. Captain Aminakova's voice roared through the comms. "Then we fight together. Shields can break if you hit them hard enough. Focus all fire on one point." The 4 Leviathans moved as one. Plasma beams, rail cannons, disabling pulses, and energy blades all struck the same glowing spot on the apex's shields. For a moment, nothing happened. The apex's defenses blazed brighter, holding strong. Then a flicker, a ripple. A weakness cheers rose in every Leviathan. Humanity had struck the monster. But the apex answered. Its weapons unleashed a storm. Missiles, beams, and gravity waves. Cities below were shaken by the shock waves. Leviathan 1 staggered, its armor torn open. Leviathan 3 dropped to one knee, smoke pouring from its cannons. The hidden weapon in Leviathan 4, Admiral Wei Zhang, studied the readings. His face remained calm as the ship shook around him. "They expect us to destroy them with fire," he said softly. "But fire is not our greatest strength. It is will." His engineers looked confused. "Admiral, what do you mean?" Wei Zhang placed his hand on the control sphere. "Activate the resonance core." Leviathan 4 glowed. It did not fire missiles or beams. Instead, it released waves of energy that traveled through space, invisible to the eye. On the apex, alarms blared. Their systems faltered. Weapons misfired. Shields flickered. For the first time, the mighty apex was vulnerable. "The assault, now," Daniel shouted. Leviathan 1's chest beam roared. Leviathan 2's blade slashed. Leviathan 3's cannons thundered. The combined assault struck the apex's weakened shields. This time they cracked like glass. The explosion lit up the heavens. Alien crews screamed as fires broke through their corridors. The apex staggered, its engines flickering. Humanity had done the impossible. They had wounded the giant. The Concords raged on the apex's bridge. High Executor Thalen's silver eyes blazed. His voice shook with fury. "Unleash the Omega Lance, burn their planet if you must. I will not allow humans to stand." The Omega Lance was a weapon of extinction, designed to erase worlds. Its core charged, glowing like a second sun. On Earth, every screen showed it. Civilians gasped. Some prayed. Others held their breath. If the lance fired, Earth would be ash. The sacrifice in Leviathan 3, Commander Hassan saw the readings. His face hardened. "They're going to fire. If that thing goes off, we all die." His crew stared at him, waiting for orders. Hassan smiled sadly. "I have one last shot. Overload the core. We'll take out the cannon." The crew protested, but Hassan raised his hand. "This is the price of freedom. Tell Earth. Tell them we stood tall." Leviathan 3 launched into the sky, flying directly toward the apex's cannon. The giant moved like a meteor, flames trailing behind. Inside Leviathan 1, Daniel shouted, "Hassan! Don't." But it was too late. Leviathan 3 collided with the Omega Lance. The explosion was brighter than dawn, tearing half the cannon apart. The apex staggered, bleeding fire. The price was paid. One Leviathan was gone, humanity's roar. The world cried out, mourning the fallen giant. But their grief became rage. Fight. Voices shouted across radios and screens. Don't stop now. Children screamed from shelters. For Leviathan 3, soldiers roared on battlefields. The will of billions poured into the remaining Leviathans. They were battered, cracked, and burning, but they rose again. Daniel spoke on the global channel. His voice echoed in every home, every heart. They wanted us broken. But hear me now. We are not broken. We are humanity, and today we roar. The cry was taken up everywhere. One voice, one people, one earth. The end of the apex, the 3 remaining Leviathans charged. Leviathan 1's cannons tore open the apex's engines. Leviathan 2 climbed its hull, stabbing through its armor with glowing blades. Leviathan 4 unleashed pulse after pulse, shutting down its systems. The apex groaned like a dying beast. Explosions tore through its body. Fires spread from one end to the other. At last, the heart of the apex ignited. The giant ship split apart, falling into the ocean in pieces so large they created new islands. The Concorde's greatest weapon was gone. Silence. After storm. For a long moment, the world was silent. No one moved. No one spoke, then the cheers began. From bunkers, from ruins, from ships, from mountains. Humanity shouted, cried, laughed. The impossible had been done. Earth was alive. The message to the Stars High Executor Thalen survived, fleeing into the darkness with what remained of his fleet. But his voice, once filled with arrogance, was now laced with fear. On distant worlds, enslaved peoples watched the fall of the apex. They whispered in wonder. The humans said no. The humans fought back. The humans won, hope spread faster than light. The galaxy would never be the same. The Leviathans stand on the shores of the Atlantic. Leviathan 1 knelt, its armor smoking. Civilians gathered around, cheering, waving flags. Leviathan 2 returned to the Arctic, its blades resting in the snow. Songs were sung of its courage. Leviathan 4 sank back into the Indian Ocean, silent once more, guarding in secret. And Leviathan 3, only its remains floated in the sea. But people built monuments to it, carving its image into stone so no one would ever forget its sacrifice. Humanity's dawn in the weeks that followed. Earth rebuilt. Nations worked together, no longer enemies. Scientists studied the wreckage of the apex, unlocking secrets that could change everything. But more important than weapons, humanity had found unity. Daniel Reyes stood before the United Council of Earth. His voice carried across the chamber. The Concorde thought we would kneel. Instead, we stood. They thought we would break. Instead, we rose. Let them hear us now. Humanity will never bow again. The chamber erupted with thunderous applause, and across the galaxy, the roar of humanity echoed.